G'day, g'day, from the banks of the Murray. I've had quite a few requests from people asking for an update on the old Luxie, or the new old Luxie, and also a bit of an update on how the camper trailer's going after we're now past 18 months travelling full-time on the road in Australia. Don't normally get into these videos too often, but I just thought while we're here and I got the time, I might answer a few people's questions and basically, just do a bit of an overview after 18 months. But anyway, I'll try to keep it somewhat short and somewhat informative with good information. And because we've learnt a fair bit in the last 3 months, I guess you'd say. But anyway, grab yourself a beer, a rumby, or a red wino, or whatever, and I'll give you a look around and tell you how it's all shaping up. I'm only drinking a beer because I've got no rum left. Might start with the camper trailer. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying, how's the camper trailer going after so long now? And we did get it about 18 months before we actually left, and that was basically so we could use it and get all the little issues ironed out, I guess. But there's a few previous videos on that. So if you search back through the channel, you'll be able to find them. Bearing in mind too though, for 5 months of last year, we weren't living in it. And the 10 weeks house sitting over this past Christmas, we weren't living in it either. In saying that though, it's probably, it's had a lot of use every single night. I'll just touch base on a few things that we've learnt, a few things we've had to overcome, and maybe certain parts that need constant maintenance and just basically keeping your eye on things. So just recently we spent some time with my mate Keefe up there at Bundaberg, and he was pretty much on the money. Like, he's already gone through it obviously, but we had a lot of water and a lot of moisture, and that was partly because of how putrid southeast Queensland was over that period. So underneath the trailer there's from factory, they've sealed up all the where all the pinch welds are, and while we were with Keith, we basically hooked a compressor up and used a torch, and we peeled some of the carpet back, and anywhere we could see light coming through, or the air compressor worked better because it would just blow the dust straight up through there. We just simply got underneath and used some Sikaflex and basically redid all the seals underneath the trailer. And that's kept it dust free and water free. It's pretty much sorted it out. So cheers Keefe for that one. It's sorted that out real good. So over Christmas as well, I thought I might take the trailer in to get serviced and make sure everything's all good, because I noticed the Tow Pro, the setting went from about, in the few years we've had it, it's gone from about setting it to like 3 all the way up to bloody 8. So I was thinking that the brakes on the rear were shagged. So anyway, we're on the Sunshine Coast, and Suddo's Caravan Repairs, legend, he got us in there and checked out the trailer, made sure we were all good, and the brakes were a bit how you going. However, he didn't have much luck when talking directly with Austrack about getting parts. So that was a bit how you going. So anyway, in the end, both hubs, it was cheaper. All the brakes were ruined, but they're a 12-inch Dexter style brake, if that helps anyone out. And he tried to order them through Austrack, and basically got told we're too bloody busy to talk to you, mate. So that was very disappointing. Even told them that, we're traveling Australia, we've only got a couple of days. Offered to go down and pick them up, and I was going to drive down and pick them up myself. Too bloody busy. Just want to sell it to you and piss you off out of there. So anyway, that was very disappointing, the after-sales service. So I ended up getting them from a mob literally across the road, and I drove down there and grabbed them, and it ended up being cheaper than buying the parts individually to just replace the whole hub. And it came pre-packed with bearings and everything. I think total was about $700 for both sides, and just a little bit of wiring in those electric brakes, and they were all good again. So I made sure the wheel alignment was all good, and yeah, basically checked the whole thing out. He did tell me I do have to replace the front bushes, you know, soon. So I'll get onto that shortly. But other than that, all was well. One other thing he pointed out to me, these chains had a bit of surface rust on them. So what he's done is just resprayed it with some Colgal, and they looked brand looked brand new when we picked it up. But basically, he reckons that if the police want to be a pain in the ass, they can actually book you for having rusty chains and not roadworthy. So that's something to keep in mind. I would never have thought that, but I've since adjusted them as well so they stay a little bit off the ground, because sometimes you'll drag them through the dirt on tracks and whatever, not so much on the highways. But yeah, that was a pretty good tip, because yeah, last thing you want to do is pull up and get pulled over for rusty chains and not being roadworthy. So yeah, that's a good tip. So clean them up and get them Colgal'd so they're in Mickey Mouse condition, and apparently you have no trouble, because it's apparently one of the first things they look at. So that was good to know. Our warning's going well, hasn't broken again yet. Although we haven't experienced 103 km/h winds since that time at White Cliffs. So yeah, not too bad, but I have noticed, you know, it's pretty reasonable that this gets used quite a bit. But these little seams, we noticed last time it absolutely poured rain on us, they were leaking. So that's not much chop really, given it's only, that's probably just over a year old now, I think. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing. But we've got this silicone spray that's like a resealer you use on your shoes, hiking gear, whatever. So I've just run around with that. And I've actually done the same on the tent, on all the seams on the tent, just to make sure that when you do get some torrential downpours, that there's no water coming through. And so far, it's worked a bloody treat. Front ensuite awning, tent, whatever you want to call it, works beautifully, and have used it a fair bit in the last 3-4 months. Only thing I will say is next time I'd probably think of something a little bit different, because we drive this thing off-road a fair bit. The Dun & Watson fridge slide that I bought for it's one of the better slides you can get. You just basically got to constantly make sure that she's clean of any dust and all that sort of crap that gets in there from driving on the dirt roads and on tracks and whatnot. So it can be a bit tough to slide in and out at times, but usually just a quick clean will rectify that. But I much prefer Keefe's little idea, where it's just on a big swing out arm. So if I was to do it again, that's the road I'd be going down, and then you wouldn't have those sort of problems. But no, it still works well. As I said, just a little bit of maintenance there on that slide, and you're pretty right. These King solar panels, still got them. Forgot all about it while we were in Brisbane. Still struggling. Still only putting out 5 amps per whatever. Was keeping up with our new fridge, but it's not keeping up very well. So on a beautiful day like today, when you don't have the cloud, it should be putting in way more than what it has. So it's just, they were working very well, but I just don't think they last very long. So again, that's on the to-do list. Probably the main part of the whole setup is your tent. It's where you sleep, play around, various activities. Various things happen up there, but all in all, it's held together brilliantly. The fly was replaced by 23-0 free of charge in those 103 km/h winds, and it's held up pretty right. Although you may notice it's not the same colour as it used to be, and the tent's getting on now too. The tent's about, well, it's been nearly 3 years old, and it's actually starting to show some signs of UV damage. I'll just climb up this ladder very carefully. So if you can see that, that's the colour that it all was, and now it's this purpley grey colour. And yeah, you can just see these awnings, just totally different colour to the rest of the tent. Some parts of the interior where it's got the black lining, the UV lighting, which is real good if you want to sleep in. That's also starting to crumble away a little bit, just in spots where it kind of folds up when you're packing it up or whatnot. But apart from that, she's done pretty well. These window stays have lost all their colour. They used to be gold. Now they're just kind of ordinary looking, but anyway, that doesn't really matter. But one thing we did find is when it rains, the water trickles down and actually goes into the base of your tent. And then this area here will fill up and it'll come out your little fittings on the ladders here. So that doesn't happen too often. And all I'd tend to do is just tie a ribbon or a bit of rope or something around here, and then it just drips straight off here before it even gets to the tent. So it's a pretty easy fix, but it's just one of those things that you just find after using these things every day for a long time. There's bloody ants. What's happening is the wind's blowing, they're falling out of the tree, so they're all over the top of the tent. The ladders still work all right. One big thing we've noticed now is this little awning off the front of the tent needs to be about another 500 mil wider. It's when she's torrential rain, you don't have the room on, you're basically getting wet when you get up into your tent. So what I've been thinking about doing, I haven't done it yet, is I might just punch a couple of eyelets here and pull it out. But the only problem with that is you've got to pull it out straight. So I want to pull it down like the pegs in the ground. But if you do that, you're not really doing anything. So I'm not too sure how to rectify it at this point. But you know, without using poles and a spreader bar, which you know, you don't really want to do, but we may have to. But yeah, you do get quite wet. So the standard tent that was on it, the Austrack tent, that had a much larger awning off the front of the ladders, and that helped a lot when it was raining because you didn't actually get too wet. So something we didn't really notice until we started traveling in it full time. So yeah, even a little bit of a, because it has got where the room zips on, but even if you had like a wall, because it only starts in the corner. So if only there was like zips like the old Oz tent used to be, and you could zip on 3 walls, and then you could just zip on this wall and pull that out, and that would be brilliant. But anyway, it's on the drawing board. Oh, the lithium batteries are going well, and luckily so, because what we did is we ended up putting the 95 litre, which came in the ute, in the back of here. So for those people who are wondering with this camper trailer, can you fit it? Yes, you can. And it's bloody tight though. So what I've done to the rear door, after we spoke to the people at Evercool about possibly putting one of their big fridges in here, they advised against it just due to the cavity space and pulling hot air around. So I just figured, well, if we just vent the rear. So that's a pretty inexpensive way of venting the rear. Just cut a hole. Doesn't look $1 million, but gets the job done. So trying to give it the best chance it's got, living in that little space. And then all we do when it's on a dirt road is we'll just cover it up, and we'll just make frequent stops to let some fresh air in there. But it does fit. All you gotta do is lift it up off this tray. And all I've done for that is, it's a bit of an easy fix, but I did think about just simply flipping this tray over. What I've done is I've just put 2 bits of timber through where the feet of the fridge are, just at the right height. I think it was 60 millimeters, and slots in quite nicely. But chews a lot more juice, even than the old 75 litre Glacier that was in there, the stock one that come with it. Yeah, it chews a lot more. It chews about 5 amps an hour, this big 95er. But luckily there's a hell of a lot of lithium power in there, and rightfully so, because at the moment we're running the little one in the car as well. So yeah, fridges. This is our new one, 65 litre Evercool. So when our last Evercool fridge, the Glacier, shut itself over Christmas, we I thought I'll ring Evercool up and see what's going on, and basically they said that it's a known problem with that style of fridge. They stopped importing fridges, I think they said in 2020, and surprisingly there's still a number of companies that will sell that fridge, And with the known problem, it's apparently got something to do with where copper meets stainless steel line, and it's in the actual housing of the fridge, and it's basically just filled with spray foam. So it's basically a dismantle to fix it, and then you've got to basically remake the outer casing of the fridge. So they deem it irreparable. So anyway, we went with the new 65 litre. It's called the Down Under. It's called the Down Under Series 2, and it's actually a brilliant fridge. It's been using it now for about 3 months. So already comes with the Anderson connection. Comes with an external 240 volt power supply, and apparently that's just so anyone can work on it and not a licensed electrician. But drains bugger all power. Like, we've got 35 degrees here today, and it's pulling 2.5 amps compared to that big 95 litre, which is pulling just over 5. So anyway, it works quite well. It's jigged with a freezer and a fridge compartment in one lid, and so we had that set on -16, but it started freezing stuff in the main fridge compartment, so we've dropped it to 14, and then the normal fridge compartment's at 3, and she's doing quite well. It's kind of like the perfect temperature for us anyway, so it's working quite well. And this little slide, brand new old stock, some bloke had in his shed, only cost me what was it, $200. So that was a bit of a score. And while we're talking about the car, actually, I'll cut it there, and we'll talk about that in another video. Yeah, all in all, the camper trailer's going pretty well. As far as remote full-time travel, and even not remote full-time travel, it's got everything you need, everything you want. Gives you shelter, gives you a beautiful place to sleep, and yeah, can go 90% of the places that the car will go. One of the biggest things, and I can actually rate this now, these wind deflectors by a mob called Kaon in Brisbane. That little thing there that looks like a king's crown or whatever makes this Dometic 2-burner stove not so shit anymore. It doesn't, I haven't had the wind blow out once, so that's been a really brilliant addition.
And it cooks way quicker.
And Michelle just chimed in to say it cooks way quicker.
It does, it cooks everything way quicker.
Because Michelle's been doing a lot of cooking, haven't you, Dal?
Yeah, unusually so.
So yeah, Kaon Industries, I don't know if that'll get that. Kaon Industries, they're just a mob in Brisbane. Look them up on the internet, Kaon. And they do a bunch of different camping things, and got a few solutions for a few problems. And that's definitely a bloody good solution, because that was driving me absolutely mental. One more thing before I forget. When it comes to the bedroom, we replaced that mattress in there about, it was Christmas last year, the year before, sorry. So just over 12 months, and it's gone to shit again. So we got that replaced by a pretty quality thing from, what was it called again? Clark Rubber. And it cost us nearly $600. And anyway, it was absolutely brilliant. And we've gone to get in it this year after Christmas, and we just started to notice it was losing its, where you lay, it was losing its shape just before we stopped for Christmas. And after being in it now for pretty much 3 months, it's basically back to sore hips, numb legs, doesn't even, yeah, you can feel the floor straight through it. So not sure what to do. Yeah, so it probably only had, when you break down the time in Inaminka that we spent there, the mattress has probably only really had about 6 months total worth of actual work, so maybe 9. So it's not very good, and we won't be going down that road again with the high density foam, and even the upgraded high-end product from Clark Rubber still didn't bloody last. So been doing some research, but I think an inflatable mattress, like I suggested last time, Snooshnet,
Wasn't so keen then, but I've definitely come around.
might be the way to go this time round. But anyway, so yeah, that's the trailer. So yeah, everything's pretty good. Everything works well. It's got everything you need. We've got the full walls, as you probably already know with this with previous videos. So if you want, you can just go absolutely ape and set the whole thing up. If you've got terrible cold weather and windy, rainy weather, put all the walls on, put the room on, pull the ensuite tent out, and we've got a full setup. There's enough battery power in there, potentially if you're not running a 95 litre fridge, to last you about 10 days without charge. But I think that 90 litre fridge and how much it tears through juice, I think we've reduced the 10 days to about 7. So that's still not bad, but yeah, works pretty well. Wouldn't you agree, Dad?
Yeah, the kitchen's good.
As a lady travelling full time and living outdoors, it works well?
It does. All the doors are still working well. All the latches, the kitchen's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call it the TARDIS.
TARDIS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff in there magically.
Does, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, minimal dust issues. Door latches are relatively low maintenance, just spray them with a bit of WD-40 every now and then, they work great. And yeah, apart from those bushes at the front, which I've already got them, just got to find time to do them. She's pretty much in good condition. So yep, all in all, the trailer works pretty well. It's a very less is more approach to some people, I guess. And it's actually quite funny because a lot of people do pull you up when you're traveling around, particularly when you're in more main centres, and they do come up and have a yarn to you about your setup because I don't know, it's a bit surprising that they haven't seen anything like it. And when you tell them you travel full time in it, it kind of blows their mind a little bit. But then after you kind of explain it to them and show them it, it kind of makes sense to them. So I don't know, maybe we're onto something. But yeah, for a lightweight, go 90% of the places that the car will, it's a pretty good setup. So yeah, it's working quite well, and will continue to work quite well until one of us gets the shits and we end up settling down again, which is not anytime soon.